Hey there everybody, this is Rich Aguilar from Tutorials by Rich, and today we're going to take a look at a logo reveal that I found online while doing some research. I was currently at Maxon's Cineversity page, and they had a few speakers at this year's past NAB conference, and that's the conference where the big reveal for Cineware took place, and you had everyone who does anything speaking about it. You had Adobe speaking about it. You had Maxon speaking about it. And there was a couple, and Maxon had a couple people speaking on their behalf to promote this stuff. And one of them is a designer that I've been following for this past year now called EJ Hassanfratz. And his website is called Eyedesyn.com. And he does a lot of really cool things. And some of the things that I really enjoy about him is I'm a big sports nut, and a lot of the stuff that he does is for sports teams. I noticed that he's done stuff for the LA Kings, I think the Capitals, other teams, and he also does some awesome TV spots, commercials and things like that. And while he was speaking, he showed his demo reel for this year, and I couldn't find it on his website, and if I was to pull it up on Cineversity, it would just look like garbage. But it was really, really cool. What he did is he had a bunch of these fluorescent lights in a room that he created, and what happened is the camera would float through space in this room, and then all of a sudden the camera would pull out very sudden, and all of these fluorescent lights all of a sudden would fall back onto this logo that he created, and it was really cool. It was just a very nice piece, very eye-catching, very straightforward. And today this is what we're going to take a look at, and it's definitely something that you can incorporate. The techniques that we're going to use today, you can use it for your logo reveal. Just different. You can use this thing for a lot of applications, and it's fun to use. The render times are really low. It's not a long, drawn-out animation, but it's really nice. And then what we're going to do, once we're done creating the animation in Cinema, we're going to hop into After Effects, and we're going to composite it, put some blur on it, do some color correction and different things like that. So a lot of talking, and this is what we're going to take a look at today. So there you go. So let me make this big. You're going to notice a couple things, and we're going to discuss these things today. First, we're going to need to create our fluorescent lights, and then we're going to have to create our room. And there's a couple different dynamics in here that make this thing really cool. I created a spotlight with some volumetric fog, some noise, and it's giving us a really nice interaction with one of the lights, and you can see it right there. It's cutting through the fog and putting a nice shadow on the ground. And then we got our camera moving through the room, and then we have our fluorescent lights going into the place that they need to be. Ooh, pardon me, I think I have to sneeze. And then also whew, pardon me. And then also, in addition, we also have just some light particles, not a whole lot, that kind of fill up some space in the room, just to kind of give it the thought, you know, like you're in a room and there's dust and things like that. So what it does is it just helps give the impression that there was movement in the room. And just like anything, when you're in a room that hasn't been touched for a while and there's movement, it kicks up some dust, and so that's what that's all about. But that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to take a look at some color correction, some motion blur, and we're just going to get into it. So this is my scene that I created, and I'm just going to push play and give you an idea of what the scene looks like. And there you go. You notice that there are some effectors that are going on here, and if I was to zoom out, you would see this room I created. It's not the most high-tech thing in the world, but it doesn't have to be. All it has to do is it just has to give us a way to get light to interact with the floor and give our camera something to shoot. And here, let me go ahead and save this. So let's go ahead and open up a new one. Let's close this one. Let's open up a new one, and let's go into our render settings. Let's go to output. Let's make this thing HD. There we go, 1280 by 720. And 30 frames a second is pretty good. So now what we need to do, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create our lights. So come up here, and we're going to use a cylinder, and we're going to make this thing pretty skinny. And that's going to serve us pretty well right there. And let's go into our side view, and we're going to create our caps. So Command V, Command C, Command V. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to create the cap to this puppy. And in addition, we just need to make it just a smidgen bigger, not too much bigger. And we just need it to rest just over the top. And then we need to do the same thing. Command C, Command V. And we just repeat the steps. Oops. And we just bring this puppy down to where it's right there at the cap. There we go. Now we have our light. Booyah, just like that. Now, what we need to do is we need to texture this puppy. So we're going to open up a new material. Go ahead and turn the color off. We don't need the color. We just need the luminance. And what we're going to use is we're going to use a Fresnel. But what we're going to do is we're going to flip this a little bit. And the reason we're using Fresnel is it gives us an opportunity to just kind of give it a more of a realistic type of a look. Oops. There we go. Gives us the impression that there's a glow in the middle of it. And then we're going to push this out just a little bit, just like that. That works. We're going to give this thing just a little bit of a reflection so that it can interact with the environment around it. Like so. That's going to give us a good one. And we are going to add a glow. The inner strength we're going to leave to 0, and then the outer strength we're probably going to leave it to where about 30–40%. You notice it just gives us a nice little haze around it. Maybe even that's too strong. 25–30% might be what you might want to do. And so what we're going to do, that looks good to me. We're going to add that to our light, and we're going to add this, call this light, and we're going to call this top, and we're going to call this one bottom. Alrighty. Now that kind of gives us some definition right there. Alrighty, that's all well and good. Boom. Now what we need to do is we need to texture our caps. So let's render this real quick. Alright, doesn't look too bad. Can look better. And the color, we're going to just make this just a real dark color. And we're going to add some reflection. Again, this doesn't have to be super detailed. The camera's not going to spend too much time looking directly at these as much as we want it, the whole thing to be looked at, the whole room. So there we go, and that'll give us some good interaction. Alrighty, so now what we need to do is we need to select all of these puppies just like that, and we need to make them editable. Come out over there, go to hit Objects, Connect plus Delete, and what that does is that gives us our fluorescent light. And then the other thing what we need to do is we need to come down here to our axis, and we need to move the axis to the center, and then click back off of it, and now we're all set. Alrighty, so there's our fluorescent light. And the thing about this tutorial, although the animation is pretty straightforward, it's not overly complicating whatsoever. The thing that makes this cool is it's going to be tedious. We're going to have to create a bunch of different things, a bunch of these lights, and then we're going to have to apply these lights to a spline. And before I get too much further ahead on this, now that we got this taken care of, we're going to hop into Illustrator, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So the spline that I created to get this look right here, I created in Illustrator, and it's really simple. All I did was I used my pen tool, I turned off the color, and I made sure that my stroke was black, made it thick enough to where I could see it. And then all I did was I just created my, all these lines with my pen tool. And you can go ahead and do that. That's simple enough. I mean, there's nothing hard, no curves or anything. And then I just copy it and paste it. But the key thing here is make sure that you leave space in between your lines. And the reason why is we want to have room for our fluorescent lights, and we don't want to have them having to touch. So what you do is just get your selection, come up to File, hit Save or Save As, and then put it to wherever you're going to save it, and then hit OK. And then a dialog box is going to come up, and it's going to ask you if you want to save it as an Illustrator CS5 file or Illustrator CC for those of you that are doing the cloud. What you want to do is you want to hit Illustrator 8, and then you just hit OK. And then what that's going to do is that's going to give you a file that looks like this. Well, it's going to be one of these fancy little icons there. I don't know what they call those things. Anyways. And then what you do is you come into Cinema, you hit File, you hit Merge Objects, you come to where you saved it, you go to your little Illustrator 8 file right there, you hit Open and Import Illustrator, hit OK. And you're going to notice, where is it? Well, the thing, I don't know why Cinema does this, but it always puts it at a different axis than where you're at. So all you have to do is you have to click on it, come down here to Position, and zero that puppy out, and then boom, there it is. You see it, and you're all good. And again, the axis isn't where we want it. So there we go. Now it is. There we go. And now if I hide this, we have our spline. Now there's a couple things that we have to do. We have to make this one single spline, and when you open it up, you're going to notice that this null object has a bunch of splines in it, and there's a couple things that we need to do. We need to make this one single spline just to make it easier for us, or you could leave it like that. Me, typically, I just want to make it just one spline. Just make it one single spline. Oops. What's going on? There we go. And oops. There we go. We got one single spline now. So what's going to make this tedious and what's going to make this difficult is that we're going to have to put every light, we're going to have as many lights as we do splines right here, or spline lines. And we're going to have to put a light here, a light here, a light here, a light there, a light here, a light there, a light there. That's what makes this really tedious. But that's what makes this animation worth the time, because at the end of the day, it's going to look really, really nice. So that's what we need to start doing. So let's scale down our light, and let's start getting this thing done. So open up the big viewer, go to the front view. We're going to zoom out here. And this is where the magic is going to happen. So there we go. We got the first one. Put him right here. Command C, Command V. And we're just going to start putting them where they belong. And the steps are pretty simple. You just repeat. Oops. And then you Command C, Command V. There we go. And then Command C, Command V. There you go. Let's see here. Alrighty, and then we're going to do the same thing again. Right here. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Here's our D. But what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this guy. And we're going to shrink him down just a bit. And we're going to put him right there. And you can see that we're starting to get the logo that we are looking for. Oops. There we go. Alrighty. And let's do this again. Let's Command C, Command V. We are going to rotate this guy. We're going to drag him right here for the N. Put him over here. Alrighty. Now, there's a very good reason why we're doing all of this right here, and you'll find out why in a moment. Now, what we need to do is we need to take, we need to fill the Y, we need to fill the S on these two parts, and we need to just copy the Y from up here, put it down there. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Command C, Command V these. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to rotate it just like so. Bring this guy right here and we're going to zoom in so that I can get a good idea of where we're at. Oops, there we go. You know, that's the biggest thing, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If there's one thing that I know a lot of designers struggle with, is they just don't want to take the time to do it right. They want projects that are quick and easy, and who doesn't? And I don't blame them for that. But, you know, we're here because we want to, I'm going to delete these ones, because we're going to use this one to copy itself, Command C, Command V. And then what I want to do is I want to move the axis point down to there. And then I'm going to rotate it. Oops. Click off of that, otherwise you mess yourself all up, just like I did. And then there we go. And then let's do this. No, I don't want to do that. Let's copy this one. Command C, Command V. And we're going to do this up there again. Let's rotate it. And let's move it. And there you go. Whoops. There's our Y. It's a little jacked up. There we go. And then what we can do is we can copy this one, Command C, Command V. And then what we're going to do is we are going to move this guy down here. And you can see we're starting to get it. Now we just need to fill in the S part right here. But what I was saying earlier is, man, guys, you got to spend the time. If you want to get good, and I'm trying to get good, we have to spend the time. We really, really do. We don't have the luxury of just picking and choosing any job that we want. You know, being good means that you're willing to do the difficult jobs and do the ones that take time, because, you know, to be honest with you, man, those are the ones that are going to pay you. You know what I mean? Oops. Command C, Command V. Now let's move this guy up here, and we're going to zoom in. You know, but don't be afraid to take on a project that you think is going to take you time, or it's going to make you sacrifice something, because, you know, that's what it's about, and people want that experience from you. and they're willing to pay you, and they're willing to show you stuff and give you an opportunity on stuff if you're willing to take it on. So don't despise these projects that seem like they just take too much time. Let's see here, and then now let's zoom out, and let's get back in here, and we got a pretty decent idea of what we're looking at right there. All right, so now back to our scene, and if we notice, we have all of our parts here, all of them right here, and the reason we're not making them one single thing is because we want these to all animate. So what we need to do now is we need to put them in a fracture object. All right, so now let's put all of these, all of our selections, into this fracture object, and we're going to call this one lights. All right, now zoom out a little bit. Let's pull, oops. Let's pull both of these up, our spline and our lights, because we're going to use this as a point of reference. There we go. Now let's add a floor. Now the cool thing about floors is they're infinite. If we used a plane, we would have to make it bigger, but it's not. It's infinite, so we don't have to worry about that. And now we need to add a few planes, and we need to make these kind of big. Let's go 2000 by 2000. That'll serve us pretty good. And let's put this puppy right there. Right there at the edge. Command C, Command V to copy it. Same thing. And then let's do Command C, Command V to do one more, except we're going to put it back on the 0 axis. And we're going to make this puppy go straight. And we're going to make this our roof. And there you go. Now we're starting to get the idea. And before I get too further along, actually I already have a camera on there. Sweet. So now what we need to do is we need to start lighting our scene, and we need to start putting textures on our walls so that the light has something to reflect over. And so now what we need to do is we need to import a wood texture. That's what he had on his. So you just open up a new texture, go to load image, and then you go to where your image is and you hit open, hit yes, and then what we can do is for the bump, because we want this to have some texture, what we can do is we can go to surfaces and just go ahead and use wood, and we can, you know, just go ahead and, I don't know, don't make it too much, and we can put that on the ground there, put that right there, put that right there. And then for the floor, we're going to add a different texture. If I didn't get rid of it, we're going to load. Let's see here. No, we're not. We're going to use the same one. And we're going to put that on the floor. Except for the floor, we need to do a little bit of something with our texture here. We need to manipulate. There we go. There we go. Alrighty, so the next thing that we need to do, we have our room set up, and we have the basic animation, not the animation, but the basic look of what the end result will be looking this way. So now what we need to do is we need to add a light. So go ahead, add a light, and what you need to do is turn it from Omni to a spotlight, and you're going to notice a difference right there. And we're going to need to position this puppy in such a way to where we catch some of the wall, and to where we catch some of this right there. And let's come up and let's rotate this guy. Let's put our point right there. Not so big. Let's hit render, see what it looks like. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend these guys. What I'm going to do, there we go, just like that. And I'm also going to just rotate my light just a little bit to where I don't get all of that right there. I'm more interested in my logo. And we're going to change to soft mats. We're going to change our light to volumetric. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into noise and we're going to hit visibility. And then there's a couple things that we can do here. Contrast, we can turn it way up. The brightness, we can turn it down. And we can make the velocity about 40%. And when we hit render, we're going to notice we see some of our fog right there. And that's what we were hoping for. And we still need to do something with this light. It's still a little too close for me. And it needs to be higher up. Just rotate this guy. And we'll just get just like that. And let's hit render. Let's see where we're at. There we go. We're getting there. We are getting there. So we have our basic scene set up with the light here. There we go. And let's turn that on. And so now what we need to do is we need to animate our fracture object that has all of our pieces in it. And there's a couple things that we can do. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go up, make sure that your fracture object is highlighted. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to MoGraph, we're going to go to Effector, and we're going to go to Random Effector. Where is that puppy? There it is. And you're going to notice right off the bat that your animation just got all jacked up. The parameter by default is position, and that's kind of what we want, but we don't want it to go too crazy. We want it to go more crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to just mess around a lot with these values right here. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to get on the deformer here, or the effector, and we're going to go to the random mode. We're going to make it from random to noise. And what that's going to do is that's going to create an animation. So I hit play, and you're going to notice that all these lights are going just flat out crazy. And they're going through the floor, through walls and stuff, and we're going to fix all that. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to just channel that all the way down. Even less than 20. We're going to go all the way down, pardon me, to say around 2. And that gives us just a decent, slow moving animation. And we're going to even move the scale down to like 10. And that gives us just a much better feel. We see these things just randomly moving. And if we go into our comp, we notice in the beginning, that's what they were doing. They were just randomly moving, and we're going to affect a couple other things to those as well. Going back to the random effector, in the parameters, we're also going to mess with the rotation. So we're going to do the pitch, and we're going to do the bank here. And we're also going to mess with this just a little more. There we go. And the other thing that we need to do is if we look at this random effector, there's no way, the way that this effector is set up now, for it to go back to where it was unless we change the fall off, or unless we change the weight. And we don't necessarily want to change the weight. We want to change the fall off. We like the weight, and we like where everything is. But what we want is we want to change our fall off from infinite to linear. Now this is where this part gets really cool. We're going to change the position 90 degrees, and we're going to make our fall off a little bigger. And as I'm doing this, you're noticing that some things are changing here. As I move my fall off on this random effector, you're seeing all of these fluorescent lights go back into their place, and that is exactly what we want. Oops. There we go. Let's get a little closer here. Now, what we can do is we're going to flip the animation, because see, what I don't want to do is when I scrub my random effector, because that's how we're going to get this to do what we want. When I scrub my random effector, I want them to be out of whack and acting randomly, and then I'm going to scrub my effector through, and then I want them to fall back into place. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit invert, and that does exactly what we want it to do. So we're going to scrub through our timeline, and when we do, our effectors going to cause all of our lights to go back to the position that they were originally in. So now the other thing that we need to do is we have our random effector set up. What we need to do is we need to add another effector. So make sure your lights are selected, or your fracture object. Go to MoGraph, Effector, Plane Effector. Now what this is going to do, this is what's going to give us the lights going from and then going to. We notice that the lights are shooting to the back of the room. Right now they're kind of towards the front. This effector is what's going to cause the lights to shoot towards the back and give us this animation, just like that. So let's get back into Cinema. What we need to do is we need to hit on our plane. By default, it's already on position, so we don't want the Y, but what we do want is we want a negative position of, say, around 900, and then, like the random effector, what we need to do is we need to change the fall off from infinite to linear, and then we need to reposition this as well. We'll make it a little wider. Let's just bring it up here to where we can see it. And again, as we scrub through our timeline, we'll see these things move from the front of the room to the back of the room. Now, just like the random effector, we're going to invert this puppy. And so now, watch what happens when I move both of these at the same time. We see them flying right in from the front of the room, acting all crazy. So here, let me push play. And then as I move my random effector on, there they go. See, there they are. They're moving. Now, as we scrub through, the effectors are doing their job. They're creating this illusion that these things are being magnetized or sucked to some force. And now what we need to do is we just simply need to create the animation that we're looking for. And let's manipulate. Let's make the animation first before we do anything. Let's see here. Let's go from frame 140 to, and then let's affect the position for both of these. So select both the random and the plane effector. And we want to make sure that we click on the rotation as well. And let's mess with let's mess with these right here. Go about 10 frames or 12 frames, and then let's scoot both of them back over there. So now we have our animation. That might be a little too quick. Let's do about 20 frames. Okay, there we go. That's better. And another thing that we can do is we can blend it a little bit. Hit on your fracture object, go to MoGraph. I love this effector. I use it a lot in just about any animation I have. And we're going to go to the parameter. We only want to affect the position because that's all we're affecting in this. And we're going to go to the effector. And we're just going to crank it up just a little bit more. We're going to hit the beginning. We're going to notice all of our lights are flying all over the room, and then our effectors take place, and then we get more of a eased in. It's a rapid, it's quick, but it's not so violent, and we're going to see it just ease right into it. Boom, just like that. And that's what we want. We want it to crank it down just a little bit more. Let's push play. All right, that's perfect right there. About 30%, 35% in there. on your delay effector, and it's going to blend in pretty good. Let's watch it again. Booyah. There it is. Ta stinking da. And so there's our animation. We have it. We got it set up. Now let's do the fun part and let's animate our camera to where we can get this cool animation. So I'm going to go back to right there, about 155. I'm going to hit on my camera. Going to go to the coordinates. I'm going to lock on all of those. Click on all the rotation values and all the position values. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 140 where we were, and I'm going to just mess with this. Oh yeah, I'm messing with it. Click on those. I might mess with the Z, and I'm going to do that. And then what that'll do, and then I'll probably come over here, mess with a little bit of the X and the Y. And then I'm probably going to come over here. I'm probably going to mess with the bank again. And I'm probably going to come in, zoom in, and I'm probably going to do this. And now let's check out what the animation does. There we go. Boo stinking ya. Here's our animation. We got our lights flying all over the place. And then we see it come in. Now, what we need to do that I noticed right away is we need to fly in and then come away. There we go. And we need the animation's coming to us, so we need to zoom in and then fly away. There we go. Oh, that's going to look good. That is going to look good. There we go. There's our light, and let's do this. Let's just make it bigger. There we go. Let's go to general. Let's crank that puppy down just a hair. We don't need it to be that big, and we're going to move it up. There we go. There we go. We got our scene. So there we go. We have our animation. I mean, we got it. We got it pretty darn close to what we want. So now what we need to do is we need to get this thing rendered. We need to get this thing done and connected up in post so that we can get this thing looking good. So go to your render settings, go to save, call this thing whatever you want, tutorial, save it in your folder that you're going to save it in, hit save, and then come down to your compositing. Make sure it's done in After Effects, hit save. I usually do my relative data. I also include my 3D data. Make sure you put it into the same place that you have all your other stuff in. And then you just go ahead and hit render. So what I did is I already have mine rendered out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a new comp. I know it's 720 by 1280 by 720. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, we're going to hit import, and we're going to click on our little icon buddy that looks like that for After Effects. We're going to hit open. We're going to open up the folder. We're going to drop this composition into its own, and there it is. Here's my original one that I had, and we're just going to get this thing to look pretty good. So first what we need to do is we need to duplicate it. We're going to solo it, and we're going to go to Effect, Key, and we're going to go to Luma Key. And then we're going to just scream this threshold up just a little bit, and we're going to get it to where it's pretty skinny. And then what we're going to do is come up here to Blur and Sharpen, hit a Gazon Blur, and we're going to just blow it up just like that. And we're going to set the transfer mode to screen on solo. And we're going to get some nice, I don't know what you call that, just light hits off of these lights. There we go. We're just going to make them nice and big, and we're also going to hit T. We're going to take the transfer way down to say about 15%. That's looking pretty good, pretty sharp. This is what it looks like animated. See, we got our camera flying through the room, and then it gets in close, and then we see it fly right in, and then booyah, there you go. Now let's add up an adjustment layer. We're going to go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves. We're going to darken this puppy up just a little bit, add a little bit more contrast, and then we're going to add the blues, some more blue channels. Suck out all of those reds. I'll leave those alone, actually. Take out some more of the green. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another adjustment layer, and I'm going to call this one my my blur. I'm going to go to Effect. Let's go here. Real Smart Motion Blur. And you're going to notice that gives us a nice effect. See, booyah, right there. That looks real nice. I like how that looks. There we go. And you can see the volumetric is doing its job. We rendered that in. You can see how it's interacting with the scene right there. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to add another new adjustment layer, and we're going to call this one Color Correction and Levels. Now what we need to do is we need to hit on our ellipse tool and double tap, gives us a mask. Invert that puppy, and then what we're going to do is we're going to darken our edges even more, and we're going to blow this guy out. And I'm also going to affect the mask. There we go. Going to give us a nice little dramatic lighting thing effect right here. I love how that looks. I love how just the concept of just the lights, how he came up with it. I just really like the idea. It's just a really cool concept, and he just has these fluorescent lights just fall right back into place. I really dig it. And then the next thing that we need to do is we just need to add a little bit of particular to add to the scene. So we're just going to add a new solid, come up to Effects, Trap Code, Particular, and we're going to go to, I don't know, we're only going to add about 10. We're going to make this a box, and then we need to just spread this out like so, and then just go to the Z-axis, go to the particle, make sure the life cycle is about 8. Go to opacity over life. We're going to use a ramp style of opacity here. There we go. And the thing that we don't want to do is we do not want this coming in whatsoever. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit 0, hit enter, click on the watch, and now we're going to go to 100, just like that. We're going to come underneath all of our stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to mess with the opacity randomness. There we go. Just like that. And now as it comes in, we have our particles flying in. Adds a little bit more just eye-catching interest to it. And that's more or less what we got here. I mean, if we can keep playing with it, I just don't see the need to. I mean, we got our render, and if you everything that we did, we're going to be able to do it. We have it right here. There you go. And hopefully you can use this this tutorial and this animation to do something fun with yourself. You can do it for your logo. You can do it for another animation. If there's something like you want just to have all these pieces up in this space or up in this room of space, and you want all the pieces to come back and form something. It doesn't have to be a logo. It could be anything to form a train, to form a building or whatever. This is definitely a way that you can do it, just depending on how many pieces you have. But hopefully this was just a cool tutorial for you to just check out some things and look at how we did it and look at how he did it. This is how I think you did it anyways. And if you don't know who EJ Hassanfratz is, I hope that you, I'm going to leave a link below for his website, his blog, and a couple pieces of his work so you can check him out. I follow him. I recommend you follow him. I know there's others out there, but this guy, he's got some really cool stuff. So this is Rich Aguilar from Tutorials by Rich. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear your feedback, and I'd love to see what your animations look like. Leave a link below so I can see what they are. I love seeing other people's work. I love getting inspiration. So like I said, this was my go at his logo reveal. And hey, like I said, just go ahead and check it out. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at RichAguilar1. Feel free to hit me up on Facebook, Rich Aguilar Design. So look forward to speaking to all of you. Talk to you later. Bye.